Runners, stop from rolling your IT band like this. If you are a runner and you feel pain on the outside of your knee, you probably think it is just a tight IT band. But in reality, this is not the full story. In this video, I'll show you the anatomy of IT band and what actually does, what IT band syndrome is, what causes it, what are the day-to-day symptoms of ITB syndrome, how we assess it in the clinic, and most importantly, how we manage it. At the end of this video, I'll share with you 5 important tips that will help you to manage your IT band pain properly. So make sure you watch till the end. To understand this syndrome better, let's look at the anatomy of IT band. The IT band is a thick and strong piece of connective tissue that runs from your pelvis to the outside of your knee. It gets its name from its attachments. From ilium, which is a part of your pelvis, to the tibia or shin bone. Along the way, it also connects with 2 important hip muscles, tensor fascia lata and gluteus maximus, which means it plays a key role how your hip and knee work together. As it travels down the thigh, it has firm connections around the femur and the knee, helping to stabilize both the hip and the knee during movements. It also stores and releases energy when you walk or run, making the movement more efficient. Now, this is important. The IT band is not designed to stretch much. It is made of dense collagen, so it is more like a tendon than a muscle. So trying to loosen it with stretching alone doesn't solve the issue. So what actually IT band syndrome is? Shortly, ITBS is one of the most common causes of knee pain in runners, but it also affects athletes in sports that involve repetitive knee loading such as basketball, cycling, skiing, and soccer. It is an overuse condition that develops gradually over time rather than from a single injury. What are the day-to-day symptoms of ITBS? The most common symptoms are pain on the outside of your knee, a sharp and burning feeling. Pain gets worse with running, especially downhill. Symptoms that start after a few minutes into a run. Tenderness when you press the outside of your knee. Symptoms are not limited to these examples, and you may experience more than one at the same time. These are the symptoms we commonly see in clinical practice. If you are getting locking, catching, or deep joint pain, that's different. So you should see a physio and assess properly. ITB syndrome doesn't usually come from one single reason. It is a combination of factors. Let's break it into 2 main areas. Load. Load is how much stress you are putting through your body. Now think back over the last few weeks. Did you change your mileage? Did you start running more often? Did you change your terrain or add hills? Or maybe you just pushed a bit harder than usual. Most of the time, it's not one big change. It is a small increase that your body wasn't quite ready for. Once the load goes up, if your body can't control it well enough, that's when the irritation starts to build. What's actually happening here is not friction. As you bend and straighten your knee over and over again during running, the IT band presses down onto the structures underneath it. There is a layer of highly sensitive and well-innervative tissue there. And when the load is too high and not well controlled, that area gets compressed again and again. Over time, that repeated compression irritates those tissues, and that is what creates the pain. Why can't your body handle that load properly? Research highlights that your body biomechanics play a big role in this case. Common biomechanical factors are poor hip control, the knee dropping inward during running, overstriding, landing too far in front, running with a very narrow step width. All of these factors reduce your ability to control load and increase stress on the outer part of the knee. So, when you combine increased loads with poor movement control, that's when the IT band pain starts to arise. How do we diagnose ITBS? The first thing is your story. When did the pain start? What makes it worse? And what has changed in your routine recently? Then we look at how you move. Things like your hip control, your balance on one leg, and how your knee behaves under control. There are also a couple of tests we use in the clinic mainly to see if we can reproduce your familiar pain. The first one is Noble's test. In this test, we apply pressure on the outer side of your knee while bending and straightening it. If that brings your usual pain, that suggests irritation in this area. The second one is Auber's test. This looks more at the flexibility of the tissues on the outer side of the thigh, including the IT band. We move the leg out to the side and then let it drop down to see how it behaves. Research shows that they don't have strong accuracy on their own, so we don't use them to make a diagnosis in isolation. Diagnosis is more about putting everything together: your symptoms, your training routine, and how your body moves. So how we manage ITBS? Once we understand what's going on, we create a plan to manage it. Treatment is not just about stretching or rest. It's about to manage load and movement. This usually starts with reducing aggravating factors. That might mean temporarily lowering your running volume, intensity, or frequency to allow symptoms to settle. At the same time, we introduce a progressive strength program. It's a structured progression that builds your capacity over time. The goal is to improve how your body handles load, so less load goes through the knee. And just as important, we guide your load step by step. That means adjusting your running based on how your symptoms respond. And yes, we may use hands-on treatment to help settle your symptoms. This can include things like soft tissue work around the hip and thigh, or techniques to reduce sensitivity in the area. But here's the key point. We are not trying to fix the IT band itself. In fact, current research suggests that stretching or deep friction massage on the IT band is not effective as a primary treatment. So I will show you a simple rehab routine, guys. These are 6 key exercises progressed across 3 levels. Start at the level that suits you and progress as your strength and control improve. We start with the basic clamshell. Here, the main goal is to activate the glute med and deep hip stabilizers. These muscles help control the position of the femur during running and may reduce stress around the lateral knee. Try to keep the pelvis still and let the movement come from the hip. Once that becomes easy, we add a resistance band to increase the demand on the hip stabilizers. Now, the glutes have to work harder to control hip rotation and femoral movement. The focus is on quality over speed. At this level, we combine hip strength with trunk and pelvic stability. Now, you are supporting body weight while controlling the pelvis, which is much more similar to running demands. This challenges the glutes, lateral core, and overall single leg control together. Next, we progress into bridge variations to build more glute strength and pelvic control. We start with the banded glute bridge to target the glutes and hip stabilizers. This helps improve pelvic control and reduce stress around the lateral knee. Keep tension on the band and avoid arching the lower back. Here we add load to build more glute strength and hip load tolerance. Keep the movement controlled and let the glutes do the work. This variation challenges single leg pelvic control, which is important during running. Keep the pelvis level and avoid hip rotation. Next, we progress into more dynamic banded movements to challenge hip control during standing and weight-bearing positions. We start with the band around the knees to target the glute med and improve lateral hip control. Focus on staying low, keeping tension on the band, and avoid trunk sway. Moving the band to the ankles increases the demand on the hip stabilizers. The goal is to control femur and pelvic position while stepping. Here we add forward, backward, and diagonal movements to challenge hip and pelvic control in multiple directions, much closer to the demands of running. Next, we progress into hinging movements to improve posterior chain strength and single leg control during loading. We start with the stick to learn proper hip hinge mechanics. The goal is to load the hips while keeping the spine and pelvis controlled throughout the movement. Here we add load to build more glute and hamstring strength. Focus on controlled movement and keeping the load through the hips rather than the lower back. This variation challenges single leg stability and pelvic control much more directly. Try to keep the pelvis level and maintain balance throughout the movement. Next, we progress into calf strengthening to improve lower leg capacity and running load tolerance. We start with bodyweight calf raise to build basic calf strength and tendon capacity. Focus on controlled movement and reaching full heel height during each repetition. Adding load increases the demand on the calf muscles and improves force production for running. Keep the movement slow and controlled throughout. This variation challenges single leg calf strength and control more directly, which is important during running. Try to stay balanced and maintain full range of motion throughout the exercise. We progress into step-down variations to challenge single leg control and knee loading more dynamically. We start with the forward step-down to improve lower limb control during loading. The goal is to control the knee and pelvis throughout the movement. Here we add more lateral hip demand and frontal plane control. Focus on keeping the pelvis level and preventing the knee from collapsing inward. This variation adds a balance and stability challenge by using an unstable surface. Now the body has to control load and alignment under more dynamic conditions. You can do this 2 to 3 times per week for 2 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. Before you go, here are the 5 key tips to keep in mind. First, be consistent with the exercises for 6 to 8 weeks. Second, drop your daily walking and hiking load. Third, avoid sitting for long periods without moving. Fourth, avoid activities that clearly aggravate your symptoms. Fifth and the last one, sleep well and manage your stress to support your recovery. Alright guys, if you get this right, you will manage your pain and prevent it coming back. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'll be back to you as soon as possible. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel, like the video and follow us for more rehab content. See you in the next video.